Have you heard about the latest uprising in Germany? It's not a political protest or a sports rivalry, but rather a countrywide farmer revolt against government overreach. And unsurprisingly, the mainstream media is once again turning a blind eye to this explosive situation. Hi everyone, it's Chris Martinson, your information scout here, back with you again. Listen, I have an important and urgent topic to discuss with you today. German farmers are standing up for their rights and pushing back against oppressive government regulations that are threatening their livelihoods. Just like we saw in Holland, just like we saw with the truckers in Canada. And even the food security of Germany is now at risk. But why aren't we hearing about this on the news? Stay tuned as I dive deeper into this powerful, hopefully growing movement. Let's go there together and start with this. Eva Vlardingbroek is reporting from today, this is January 8th here, that the German farmers have successfully blocked dozens of highways with the help of the German truckers. It looks like this all across Germany right now. This is her view up on the tractor on the A2. That one cuts basically east-west across, a lot of Europe, but right through Germany, of course. She's blown away. History in the making. Yeah, Vigilant Fox reporting here that German farmers have taken to the streets in blistering cold, blocking road with tractors in a week-long nationwide protest against proposed agricultural subsidy cuts. We're going to have to talk about that because it's not accurate the way I use language, but it's close enough to get the point across. But here they are. There's people in the squares. And, of course, Eva herself, she's been doing extraordinarily great work. She describes herself as shield maiden of the far right. And the far right is one of those terms that you have to use now because, of course, if you just stand up for common sense, reason, defending people, you're now part of the far right. Far right is anybody who protests against the government in any way, shape, or form. Resist much, obey little, she says. She's been doing really great work with the Holland farmers. Now she's gone over to Germany to join their protests there. They are saying here they are fed up. And let me see if I can pull this up. That would be this channel here. I don't speak a good enough German to hear this. Let's see if we can pull this up. 1 second. Ooh. Whoa, one more time, because we missed a little of that. Whoa. Yeah. That is what it looks like and sounds like when people are fed up. That's the translation that I was given on Tara Bull's Twitter feed there. We are fed up. But fed up with what? Well, the truckers have finally joined in, or not finally. They were like, yeah, us too. So truckers and farmers standing together. So again, note the sweep of this all here. What we're seeing is the same pattern we saw in Canada, which is there's a ruling bureaucracy that just out of touch, don't care. In fact, they're willing to punish some of the most productive, hardworking people in their nation to make a point. And the point isn't about how do we make the future better? How do we unite our country? How do we become more prosperous in the future? In fact, the people who want to punish people for not following along with whatever stupid government diktat is being shoved down people's throats at the moment, well, they're just branded and labeled as far right, ostracized, told that they're misogynist, sexist, racist, you name it, right? This is how the collectivists roll. Germany, unfortunately, is deeply, deeply caught in this web of the collectivists. Now, we all just can hope, though, that this doesn't turn to honking. Because as we know, there's nothing more terrifying than what happens, honk, honk, when things go back to honking. All right, by the way, if you like having your news put into context, and I can tell you why all of this stuff is happening in Germany, if you don't understand where they are in their energy story, this all is probably a little nonsensical. But once you understand that and how those are self-inflicted wounds, you can begin to decode what's happening today and begin to take reasonable, prudent steps towards securing your own resilient, if not prosperous future. That's the crash course. You see it behind me on the shelf over here. That is my prime work. You want to get that book and read it if you want to know how the future is going to unfold. And secondarily, consider joining the #1 online resilience community because it is time for everybody to get resilient. And they're figuring this out in Germany right now. Back to Eva Vlardingbroek. Here she is interviewing a German farmer they both speak very good English in this. German farmer Anthony Lee, LSVD, tells me about the farmers' uprising, said, quote, "We are sick of the lies. We've been here for generations. We work 24/7. We're the people who put food on your plates. We're all united in getting rid of the politicians who are trying to get rid of us." Right? Well said. This is it. There's this huge divide between the people and the politicians. Remember, governments are there to serve the people, not the other way around. And the German farmers have finally had enough. But trust me, everybody's going to have had enough sooner or later. There is a plan afoot, and that plan is to take Germany's culture away from it, to defang it, debarb it, neuter it, take away their food, and they've already taken away their energy in large measure and made it very expensive. So that is the program. And some people aren't down with that program. Now, remember, this is all, you can understand this by understanding this idea of rats in a cage. This is a body of research that I've presented before. It's called shock-induced aggression. It's very well studied, and it goes like this. If you take one rat and you put them in a cage, and they're just sitting in that cage, nothing for them to do, probably a lonely rat, but doing all right. And then you start applying shocks to this cage. Now you have a very unhappy rat being shocked. It can't get away. It can't do anything about it. But for the most part, it just sits there and puts up with that misery. Now, the problem starts when you put two rats into the same cage and you're shocking them both. Now they have somebody to look at who they can assign their blame to, because the rats don't know that that person in the white coat outside of the cage is actually the one purposely shocking them. They don't know about that. So they look for an outlet for their rage, for their aggression, and they see something they recognize. It's another rat, and they attack it. I presume if you put a rutabaga in there, they wouldn't recognize that as a threat or something that they could take out their aggression on. So shock-induced aggression is a very, very well understood phenomenon. It's been studied since the 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s. It's very, very well understood. It happens in all social species. So the question is, how are we being shocked? When people get shocked, here's the key. The key is that when you've been shocked, don't fall for it and find another group to put your anger against. It shouldn't be the police fighting the farmers in this case, because if the police and the farmers have the right understanding of the cage, the police are actually on the same side of the story over here with the farmers. We have to understand what the story is. We have to understand how the cage has been constructed and what the shocks are. There's lots of shocks out there. Very shocking. Not least of which is the loss of use of words that have shared meaning that is part of the tactics of the shock troops out there. They are also doing things that are completely nonsensical, and they are rapidly destroying our culture and taking it away, and then blaming us for being upset about it is shocking. So, carrying on with the story, we see this all over the place. These are, nice long video, just a huge line of tractors weaving their way up that beautiful country road right there. Highways are plugged. We're seeing this at every possible place in Germany right now. It is all over the map. So, just to be aware of this now, have you heard about this? Has this been in your news? Well, it really isn't in many news outlets out there at this point in time. But I'm covering it, and I'm going to go into this in more detail today with my subscribers, much more detail, past rats in a cage. We have to understand how Germany is being economically destroyed right now, which it is due to its energy policy. We're going to look at a very shocking case where a 15-year-old girl was gang raped, and they let 8 of the 9 people go scot-free from their system, and looking at the refugees and situation going on. All of these things collectively say that German culture is under attack, and we're seeing them begin to respond. So if you haven't heard about this, in the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, I checked this morning, not a word about any of this. You know why? They don't want you knowing about this. We'd prefer not to talk about this unless, in case you got any silly ideas in your head, that it would be an okay thing to protest, to stand up for your rights, to say, this is not okay. Hey, hold on, government. You serve me, not the other way around. They don't want any of that kind of thinking getting out there, because that's not the narrative that the mainstream media is busy promoting. They're busy promoting a narrative of destroying the world, destroying individual countries, tearing down the prosperity that we have, because they want to build back better. They're all down with that. To build back better, you have to tear stuff down first. And why are they going after farmers and cows? Isn't that a little puzzling to you? I mean, you really stop and think that through? Like, really? We care about climate change, so we're going after cows in Ireland. Wait a minute, we have a little tiny budget hole, so maybe we shouldn't stop sending, I don't know, stuff to blow up in Ukraine. Instead, we're going to have to raise prices on farmers, diesel, and road vehicles. That's it. We'll have to put extra taxes on them because where else is the money going to come from? It's such a mystery. Where could the money come from, right? That is not by accident. There is a war on, and that war is to take away our food, our livelihoods, the middle class. This is happening, and it's happening right now on your watch. So if you want to know more about that, hear the rest of my thoughts on this, please come to peakprosperity.com, where we make sense day in, day out. I'm your information scout, and I'll help you stay current on the things you need to know about. But in the meantime, please get resilient. Go out there. You need to store a little food. Make sure you know exactly how you are going to get through these next period of time, because when the truckers and the farmers finally revolt in your country, it doesn't take long before things begin to run out. So you should be resilient and prepared with stored food. With that, thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.